Warriors Walkoff on HBC TV 25 is brought to you by Jefferson Pub and Grill. Meet me at the levee for fabulous food and drinks at Jefferson Pub and Grill. Come check out their great nightly specials and limited time offer menu, Jefferson Pub and Grill. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Warriors Walkoff on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thanks for joining us. We'll start with softball first, and head coach Greg Jones joins us. And it's kind of a tough situation to kind of be in here to talk to you because we don't know what's going to be happening to you later this week when you start in NSIC tournament play. So let's kind of talk in general terms. Once you find out who your opponent is, you have a couple of days now to prepare before Thursday. What is your process on getting things ready for the playoffs?
Well, right now we just need to get back in and have some good workouts. And it's a really limited week. We're off today. We'll do some work tomorrow. And then we travel already on Wednesday to play Thursday. So there isn't really any time to do anything specific to anybody anyway. I think it's more just us being mentally prepared how we want to chart things and handle things so far as the scouting side of it from coaches. For the kids, it's really just about get some BP, get some workout in. And, we've had a lot of games without practice now. And so just get some practice reps in that way.
Now, obviously, it's different between like the national tournament and this tournament. How well do you feel you know who you might be playing? Because I know it might be Minnesota Duluth, it might be Upper Iowa, one of those two.
It's been a while since we played either one of those two opponents, and so there's been a lot of water under the bridge since then. A lot of teams that we've scouted and gone through, and so you feel fairly comfortable with them. You remember back to what they did and how they grinded things out, and both those teams were tough opponents because of how they played. They played a lot like we have played in the past years, where they're really intense and they grind things out and they just don't give it bats away. But really, it's still going to come down to how we play on that day more than anything else anyway.
Let's talk a little bit about how your team maybe has changed since the first time that you played those two teams. And we'll talk about our guest today, McKenna Larson. It seems that she's kind of slipped into that number 2 pitcher role this season, has had great success in the second half of the year. When was that decision made that you wanted her to be the number 2 pitcher, and how did that go?
I don't think it was a time that we really made the decision that that's what we wanted to do. We really never got away from, we started the year, it was Hannah would throw game 1, and then we were kind of going every other game with Alex and McKenna. And then it's just really the time that Alex was doing a lot of the throwing, and then the times that now McKenna has been doing the throwing really has just been more about riding the hot hand. And Alex got hot and was throwing the ball really well. We talked to McKenna about it. Nothing's changed. Keep working. Stay on it. You're going to get back in this thing. It's just right now she's going well, so we're going to let her keep going. We had the Mary Minot weekend, and Alex struggled a little bit, and we brought McKenna in to finish, got us out of the inning. Then we had the big 7-run 7th, and McKenna was able to finish that game. And then we started her right away again the next day against Mary, and really just been riding her since then because she's going really well. And it's just about, you want kids when they're feeling confident to keep going. And so it was never a decision just to make the switch. It just kind of happened, and she's pitching the ball really well right now.
I know you don't want to look too far ahead, but both are sophomores now, Alex and McKenna. So how excited are you for the next season to have both of those actually for 2 more years?
And I think that's been the biggest thing for us this year. Coming in, we didn't know because of how young they were and didn't have any pitching experience with us. McKenna didn't pitch at all last year in a game, and Alex only pitched 1 game for us last year. So we really didn't know what we were going to have in that number 2 spot behind Hannah, which means we didn't really know what we had in the future of the program, and right now we feel like it's in pretty good hands.
All right, I'm going to kind of jump around a little bit because we want to try to recap as many of the games as possible, but one big thing we have to talk about is Hannah Lithberg throwing another no-hitter for you guys, second one of the season, and I believe it's the first in Winona State history that was an extra inning no-hitter.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you that or not, but I know I haven't seen an 8-inning no-hitter since I've been here. That was the best game Hannah's thrown in her career here, and not because it was a no-hitter. But as I'm sitting on the bucket calling pitches, I always have kind of an idea of what I'm thinking and where I want it to, and it was just like she had a laser. I mean, every time I wanted the ball in a certain spot, she put it in that spot, and she set hitters up just perfectly, and she put them away perfectly. And I don't know that they had a ball to the outfield. I mean, she had 10 strikeouts, and then every ball was hit weakly on the ground, and either to her or shortstop. We made a couple decent plays at second base that weren't, routine, but man, she threw the ball as well as I've seen her ever throw the ball.
And I believe she was one batter away from a perfect game.
Yeah, she hit a kid in the 7th inning with 2 outs on an inside screwball, and I just said, all I want to do is stand this kid up. I wanted it in off the plate, and it just got in a little bit too much. But other than that, that was the only flaw. That's okay.
Now, I remember the last time they were talking about a no-hitter, you said that you weren't even really aware that
Right.
a no-hitter was going on. Were you aware of this one?
Very aware, just because it was just, the innings were so quick and routine. It was just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And so, yeah, from about the 3rd inning on, and you knew she had no-hit stuff. The way she was dealing, I don't think they're going to get a hit off of her. And so, we don't call it any differently. You just kind of keep staying in the rhythm and stay in the moment. But yeah, I was very aware this time around.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about the weekend in general against Southwest, or at least those games. You won both of those games, so you're coming off a sweep now. How did your team play in the second game?
Well, our offense has, I don't want to say it's struggling, but it's struggling. It's when we score in bunches, and we've been able to win games because we're scoring in bunches. In the Augie doubleheader and the win against Sioux Falls, and then both wins yesterday against Southwest. What we've got to do is find some more consistency to stretch those runs out. We don't always have to get 2 or 5 or 10 in an inning if we can get one here and one there and things like that. So that's where we've scuffled a little bit, just with the consistency of our offense. But again, I thought we played defensively well all day. McKenna and Hannah, pitched great all day. And as long as we continue to pitch and play defense, we'll be in every game until our offense comes along, and that's what's been happening.
You talked about the struggles in that second game. You were no-hit through 4 innings in that one, and then finally the bats came around and you came away with a 7-2 win. As you're seeing something like that happen to you, when you've already seen a no-hitter thrown against the other team, what are some of the things that you're thinking about in the dugout while you're trying to get your offense going again? Well,
you're first of all trying not to press the panic button. You don't want them to view it as anything but normal. This happens. Sometimes you hit the ball hard at somebody. Sometimes you pop up. They're not robots, and it's not push-button softball. So you're trying to keep them in the moment and trusting themselves. And at the same time, you're constantly trying to figure out, okay, what can we do? Do we pinch hit? Do we pinch run? Do we try to steal our way to a run? What do you do? And you're trying not to panic, yet at the same time, you're internally you feel the clock ticking, and that you've only got so many outs left to use. And we got to the 4th inning, and we're being no hit, that frustration starts to set in on me, and I'm trying desperately not to have them get frustrated. And the wind was blowing in hard, and you knew nothing was going to leave the ballpark. It was just a matter of trying to get some base hits together. And again, like we've told our kids over the last couple of games, it doesn't take a lot of hits to score runs. It takes good at bats. Give yourself the opportunity for good at bats, and get a walk, hit the ball hard that maybe you reach on an error, put the ball in play, make them play defense. And sometimes we can score without the benefit of a hit, but we've got to have good at-bats to do that.
All right, we're going to take a break here on Warriors Walkoff, and when we come back, McKenna Larson, Warrior pitcher, will join us right after this. Warriors Walkoff on HBC TV 25 is brought to you by Jefferson Pub and Grill. Meet me at the levee for fabulous food and drinks at Jefferson Pub and Grill. Come check out their great nightly specials and limited time offer menu, Jefferson Pub and Grill.
We chose HBC because they're a local company. They have a big audience in Winona, which is the geographic group that we're looking for. Mel is very easy to work with. She's genuinely concerned about how our money is being spent, and she does everything she can to make sure we get the most for our money. She takes care of us. So whenever there's a problem, which is rarely, I know that I can go to her and she's going to take care of it.
To see how HBC Advertising can help your company, call Melanie at 507-474-5802. Go beyond entertainment with HBC GigaWorld and get the broadband experience. Video chat without buffering. Stream your favorite shows and movies with TV to go. Dominate your online games and more with gigabit internet speeds. Watch over 300 video channels, including high definition, sports, HBO, Cinemax Stars Plus, Encore Showtime, and more. Call friends and family with reliable, crystal clear, unlimited local and domestic long distance phone service. Experience broadband the way it's meant to be with HBC GigaWorld. Visit hbci.com to get started today.
And welcome back to Warriors Walkoff. Now time for the player perspective. McKenna Larson joins us. Thanks for joining us today. I feel like we could talk to you for probably the whole half hour based on your high school career and now what you've been doing in college. I always like to go backwards to high school first, and you were a three-sport athlete in high school. Talk about that and kind of time management, how you did that in high school.
I guess I was always busy. That's kind of, my mom was always a coach, so I was always in the gym when I was younger, and it just was a way of life, you know, a lifestyle. And obviously I enjoyed it because I did do three, and never having off time and always switching from different sports was, I guess, I never really thought about it, but I enjoyed playing all three.
Now, is it fair to say that softball and volleyball were your two main sports?
Yes,
Now,
definitely.
I asked that because in basketball, it was really interesting. I saw that when you were a senior, you get to the state section final, and you score, I think, 31 of your team's 41 points in that game. Talk about that a little bit and kind of your basketball. I mean, even though you had two main sports, you're still kind of excelling in basketball.
Well, basketball always was a step down from the sport. I mean, I still loved it, obviously, because I played it. Yeah, we struggled that game, but we made it to state, so it was exciting, and wouldn't have went out any other way.
Okay, and I understand that your decision to come to Winona State was kind of based on the fact that you could play both volleyball and softball in school.
Yes, my sister knew a girl who played softball and volleyball, so we kind of talked to her, and I knew that the coaches were willing to work with it, and I'm an indecisive person, so deciding between sports was very difficult, so I just decided to give it both a shot, and I'm happy I did.
All right, we'll ask Coach Jones about having this kind of dual sport athlete. I know this happens every once in a while at Winona State, but when you have an athlete and you want them to come to Winona State and you know they want to play two sports, what's your thought on that?
Well, it's a big selling point for us that we allow it and that it can happen. Because there are places where I think those kids could go to school where they just say, no, you've got to play this sport, or we really need you to play this sport, or just the other coach doesn't have that need for them, and we just happen to have the need in both sports. And so it's a really big selling point because it allows the kids to do what they need to do and to make their own decisions and that thing. It's very difficult now. These kids are in season now. Like somebody like McKenna is in season all year, and she never has an off season. She never has downtime. She never has an off season weight program for strength training and things like that. And everything she does is in season. Academically, she's always in season. Athletically, she's always in season. So it's a big challenge, but quality people make it work.
Let's talk about that fact now in college. I mean, you talk about it in high school, but in college, do you like flip a switch from volleyball to softball, or are those sports kind of on your mind all the time?
Right, well, I kind of look at it in terms of semesters, you know, and in August, starting with volleyball, and then once volleyball ends, you know, you kind of have to switch to, you know, it's onto something else. And it's the same with softball. Once, unfortunately, they both have to come to an end, but to switch, it's a fresh start, I feel like, for both. Since I've always been a three-sport athlete, I always have fresh start, and you know, it's nice to mix it up a little bit.
All right, let's talk a little bit about your softball, since that's why we're here to talk about that. Talk about being inserted into that number 2 pitcher role, and I think you've won 6 consecutive starts, which is very good. Kind of talk about that, having not pitched last year.
This summer I got to pitch again, so it was. I was just happy to be a part of the team. You know, didn't expect to come in and pitch. This year obviously was different with the graduation of Ashley. So I think that putting in work over the summer, you know, really got me after it again. And my love has always been pitching. I've been pitching since I was 3. So it's really, to be in the circle is something, you know, unless you are in it, you can't really appreciate it.
How would you describe yourself as a pitcher? Are you more of a strikeout pitcher, pitch to contact?
I think probably pitch to contact, get outs. Obviously, everyone wants the strikeouts, but you don't go out there looking to strike out 21 people. You go out there to get 21 outs.
Well, as we said, you've had a lot of success here in the second half of the season. We hope that continues. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break here on Warriors Walkoff. When we come back, we'll talk baseball. It's right after this. Warriors Walkoff on HBC TV 25 is brought to you by Jefferson Pub and Grill. Meet me at the levee for fabulous food and drinks at Jefferson Pub and Grill. Come check out their great nightly specials and limited time offer menu, Jefferson Pub and Grill.
Hi, I'm Dan Picarino with HBC. Our goal has always been to offer the very best TV experience and value possible. Customers often ask, why do we have to pay for a bunch of channels we don't even watch? It's kind of like this. Imagine going into a convenience store and wanting to buy a bag of chips. But to get those chips, you're required to also purchase a candy bar, a slice of pizza, a sandwich, and a pack of gum. That's how one channel you want becomes 4, 5, or even more channels in your lineup. Today, there are 6 multi-billion-dollar corporations that control 90% of the existing networks and programming. We feel strongly that these corporations should not be allowed to double or triple their rates from year to year. There are times that HBC must challenge these media companies to keep their rates reasonable. We hope you will join us in this fight. Please visit tvonmyside.com/HBC to learn more. And thank you for choosing HBC.
And welcome back to Warriors Walkoff here on HBC TV 25. Time now for baseball. Kyle Polk joins us from the Warrior baseball team. And I think we want to start talking about the Sioux Falls series because you had a pretty good output offensively from the whole team, but especially Mitch Voter. 3 home runs in the first game, followed that up with a home run in the second game. So 4 in one day. He's just been hitting the ball really well this season.
Yeah, he's really come into now. Like I think we mentioned before, he's finally been with us for a whole season or a whole year and was able to go through our fall ball with us and whatever. When he came in a year ago at the semester time, he was basically looking at a pitcher. I knew he could hit a little bit because I've seen him play, but he was a little bit behind. And so, but with the fall ball and stuff gone, he's zeroed in and he's locked in. I hate to say it, but like yesterday, it was like a slow pitch softball game for him because everything that they were throwing was off speed and stuff, and he just putting swings on it.
Yeah, incredible. You also set a season high for hits with 26, tied a season high 21 runs in the 21-9 win over Sioux Falls. Was it just a case of you're really locked in on their pitchers? What was that?
Yeah, I want to say that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're locked in, we're ready to go. Their pitching staff, once you got past their starters, their bullpen wasn't real strong, but you know they still got to come in, they got to throw the ball, and you got to hit it. So our guys are locked in, and we were 1 through 9. We had a couple guys in the bottom of our order that had been struggling and stepped up and did a really good job this weekend for us, which is good for us going into the next 10 conference games and hopefully the conference tournament.
Kip Youngquist seemed to turn it on over the last couple of games as well. Can you talk about what he's done for the team?
He's had some better at-bats lately, but I think a big thing with that first game on Saturday, we went extra innings, he hit a 3-run home run, and then after that you could just see his confidence go up, and he hit the ball hard all day long on Saturday, and yesterday too he did a great job getting the bat on the ball, getting base hits when we need him, which is great for us at the bottom of the order. I keep telling them, hey, you're a shortstop, and you know Seth McMullen lived in that 9-hole for 2 years for us and then became an All-American. I'm not putting that pressure on him, but I said, this is the same thing for you. You're athletic. You can do some things. Just be patient, get some good pitches, and hit them hard.
Oh, he's a sophomore, so he's got plenty of time for that too as well. Let's talk about that second game because it's a 7-7 tie. You're getting towards the end of the conference season. Does that kind of have any kind of implications at all?
Hopefully not. I don't think so. You know, it doesn't help us, but I don't think it hurts us because it's not a loss. I got to figure out how the percentages are worked out with that thing when it comes down to the final standings. But yeah, that was kind of unfortunate because we were at a point where we were going to get into their bullpen again, and I think our bullpen at that point we were going to be a little bit better off than what they were because we had some guys that we could still use that we used on Saturday that hadn't been too many pitches, so we were going to be okay. The unfortunate thing was there was a lightning delay first. And then halfway through the lightning delay, you know, you got to wait 30 minutes. Well, it was just a lightning storm, so every time there was another lightning strike, we had to add another 30 minutes. And then 15 minutes into that, the rains came and it poured. And it's funny because their field there doesn't drain at all. And about 45 minutes into it, their coach, we had to sit on the bus. Their coach sent me a text, said, I don't know, we got a lake out there and you have water. From first base to second base, and dirt was underwater. I've joked with a couple people, I could have put my boat on it probably and did some fishing, but and it doesn't drain, so it wasn't going to go anywhere. It was supposed to be raining until after probably 10, 11 o'clock, and lightning, so at that point there was no sense for us to sit around anymore. So then we made the call to bang it and tie.
Do you have any Rick Dempsey rain dances going out there?
No, we didn't, because with the lightning, the Sioux Falls City, they own it. It's their park and rec, and their thing is you can't stay in the bleachers. You can't stay. There's no place to go underground or underneath, whatever. So everybody, their players had to go sit in cars. We sat on the bus.
Oh, wow.
So
what's it like to have to sit on the bus and kind of wait out a rain delay? I mean, what are some of the things that you do?
Well, the guys are there, but I had a video. I always joke, I bring my hunting and fishing videos if we don't have a good movie. Well, this time I put in Moose Mania 3. So we watched some moose hunting.
Very good. I could see Ryan, our guest, kind of cracking up there. Maybe that was a pretty popular choice.
Well, there's a few guys in the front that liked it. I don't know about the guys in the back of the bus, but in the front we were watching. They were shooting some big moose. So
Let's move on and talk about some of the other games. The other games against Sioux Falls, 14-10 in 10 innings you win, and then in 7 innings you win 8-6 in game 2 before that. Talk about those games.
Well, yeah, the first one was the extra inning game, which it kind of bounced back. It bounced back. Sioux Falls, they got some guys that can hit. They're pretty good. Their weakness is their pitching right now, we kind of exploited that. But there were some pretty good games. We did a pretty good job with our bullpens, mixing and matching with some things. We had Mitch Voter got both saves on Saturday. And actually the first game, we brought him in and he tried to finish out the game, but we didn't score, so he pitched 2 innings. And then because of where we were in the game, we weren't going to try to extend him. And then we got the lead in the 10th inning and said, hey, can you go one more? So we brought him back in. The good thing is because he can hit, he was playing first base.
Yeah.
Because if we would have taken him out of the game, he would have had to we wouldn't have been able to use him. So that was a key for us at that point. The second game was 8-6. We just got a lead on him and we just held him and was able to bring him back in and close it out for us in that one. But that was probably the best, cleanest game of the weekend, that 8-6 game, because the 14-10 and 21-9, and then the other one, the one that got canceled, who knows how that would have ended up.
Right. You talked about tough luck pitchers before, and Daniel finally got a win in that second game on Saturday.
Yeah, he finally got it. And actually, when we took him out, at that point, I think if we were tied or up, but we got some runs to get it out, put it out of reach. So he finally got his first win on the season stuff, and he's pitched good enough. Well, and he was actually in the game yesterday, and when the game got suspended, he came in. He was going to go 1 inning, and he had gotten the first 2 guys out, and I think he had 2 strikes on the last guy, and potentially had the third out there too, and then the lightning struck, and so. But he was ready. He was, because of his pitch count, he was able to go an inning on Sunday too.
Okay, let's go way back to the first couple of games since the last time we met against Augustana. Pick up 2 wins there, pretty important wins for you there.
Well, no, they beat us.
Or they beat, I'm sorry,
Yep.
yes.
No, that. But the key there was we lost 2 games, but they're in first place, and we played well. I thought we played pretty well. They're pretty good. Again, they swing it pretty good, and their pitching is decent. So, but we put, I think we had 6-3. And then the last one was 14-11 or something.
12-11.
12-11, yeah. And we had a chance to win that one. We had guys on base in the 9th inning, and just didn't get them. We got 1 run in to make it 12-10 or 12-11, and then we had a chance, and Tyler Nearing hits a shot at the center fielder that if the ball's 20 feet either way, it's probably going to get down and gap, and we score 1. And I think Mitch or Jesus was on first, so we probably would have held them at third and see what happens. But we would have been tie game. So that was positive thing for us. I think that showed that we can play with the top teams in the league, and that kind of jump-started us for the weekend.
Let's talk about what you have coming up. Now, you play St. Mary's on Wednesday, and then you get back to NSIC action. Does it matter that you have to switch back to kind of non-conference and have the inter-city game? No,
actually not. See, this is one that Coach Winicky and I, we talk. We don't really put it on a schedule. We just take a look and see what's happening. And we lost a game early in the year to weather, and they lost one, so it's one we can pick up. Because ideally, we want to play 50 Division II games. Mm-hmm. But we lost a game up at Crookston for weather, and we were short one with a game down south that we didn't get in. So we had one available. And at this time of the year, we'd like to have practice, but if we can get a midweek game, we were on the bye this week for conference, so a midweek game is better than a practice at that point. So we can get our guys game reps and stuff like that. So.
All right, well, good luck with those games.
All right, thank you.
We're going to take a break here on Warriors Walkoff. When we come back, Ryan Niehagen will join us right after this. Warriors Walkoff on HBC TV 25 is brought to you by Jefferson Pub and Grill. Meet me at the levee for fabulous food and drinks at Jefferson Pub and Grill. Come check out their great nightly specials and limited time offer menu, Jefferson Pub and Grill.
Integrate your business communications services with HBC. You'll be connected to the area's leader in internet and data solutions with speeds up to 1 gigabit, not to mention the most customizable and reliable telephone network in the area. Your customers and guests will enjoy crystal clear video and audio throughout your business. HBC Professional Solutions customers receive consulting and IT support, conferencing solutions, fast reliable cloud service, and more. Call 888-474-9995 to experience the HBC difference today.
Tune in for the Sports Buzz every Tuesday at 5:30 as a panel of local sports journalists tackle the hottest topics on everything from local high school and collegiate sports to regional discussion about the Twins, Brewers, Vikings, and Packers. With the Power Play Fantasy Football Challenge to the Rant of the Week and NFL Pick'em, the Sports Buzz is fast-paced and sure to entertain. That's new episodes of the Sports Buzz every Tuesday at 5:30 with replays only on HBC TV 25. And welcome back to Warriors Walkoff. Time now to talk to the player. Ryan Niehagen joins us, one of the outfielders for the Warriors. And before we get too far away from it, I have to ask about Moose Mania 3 because apparently this is a pretty popular choice. Talk about watching that during the rain delay.
Yeah, we get on the bus after the first lightning strike, and we're trying to figure out what we're going to do to pass time. Some guys put headphones in, and Coach up in the front of the bus yells, "Who wants to watch Moose Mania 3?" And the entire bus just erupts cheering. And I've never heard a movie get cheered for as much as Moose Mania 3 did, and I'm pretty sure the entire bus enjoyed it quite a bit. I know there are a couple guys that are pretty avid hunters that were around me that were getting into it.
Do you hunt at all?
I do not, but it was actually really interesting to watch. Some of those moose were, I didn't realize how large they actually were until the guys went and posed right next to them. It's impressive stuff.
And I think it's funny too that, Coach, you say you don't hunt either, but yet you still like to watch the videos.
No, I hunted when I grew up, but once I got into playing ball and stuff, I didn't follow up on it. So my main thing is fishing, but the hunting, I don't know what it is, but the hunting, the moose and elk stuff, those anytime there's shows on, I love watching them and stuff. So maybe someday when I grow up, I'll hunt.
All right, let's go back to Ryan here and talk a little bit about your high school career because you were a three-sport athlete in high school, baseball, football, and basketball. I'm going to talk about basketball because you led your team, or helped lead your team, to the first sectional final since 1939. And from what I understand, your grandfather played on that 1939 team. How cool was that?
It was really cool because his trophy case is sitting in the halls that I pass every single day. And that season, we actually started 0-8. We got one of our starters back from a broken arm from football, and once he got back into the lineup, things just started clicking, and we went on a run, and it was really cool because it's not that small of a town, but it kind of has a small town feel to it. That when something like that happens, we go on a run, the entire town really gets behind us, and some of those regional and sectional games were absolutely packed. It was a really fun experience to get to play in those kind of games.
So I mean, that could be one of your sports highlights the rest of your career then?
Oh, definitely. I remember just running out for warm-ups 20 minutes before the game for the sectional championship game. There wasn't an open seat in the place, standing room only. It was really cool.
All right, you also, as we said, played football in high school. Were you exclusively a kicker? That was the only thing I could find out about you,
No,
some of the kicking that you did.
That was mainly what I was looking at to play in college before I was getting baseball looks. I was a wide receiver, cornerback, punter, and kicker.
Okay.
But I was mainly looking at college stuff for kicking.
Okay. Any games stand out in your football high school career?
A few. One of them was definitely homecoming my senior year. I got 2 interceptions in the first half, and then to the very last play of the first half was actually a fake punt. We were punting into the wind, and we knew that the team that we were playing, instead of putting a guy back to return, they would send everybody just to try and get a block because they knew that the punt wouldn't go very far into the wind. And our special teams coach was pretty wacky, drew up a bunch of these trick plays. We loved them. And we never ran one, though. The head coach would never give him the go. And he gave him the thumbs up, and it was check Vegas, check Vegas. So I got the snap, and our tight end released, and easy completion for me. And then he just wasn't the fastest guy. So luckily we had a couple guys blocking the guys who were trying to catch him from behind. And I think it was a 65-yard touchdown.
Very nice. Now, I like the enthusiasm that you talked about football and basketball. So what eventually tipped the scales then to pursue baseball in college?
My visit here probably, or the first thing, I went to a camp at Iowa, and that was when I met Coach Wing and Coach Riley were both there. And first meeting them was kind of one of my first interactions with Winona State, and I really got along well with them. And then I came on a visit here, and even on my visit here, I was still leaning more towards football. But the experience I had with the program, the current players, and also the recruits who ended up being my teammates, it was just an amazing time, and that's when it kind of flipped over that I really wanted to come here.
Very good. I think you got a new recruit video here
Oh yeah,
for
we
Winona
use
State
this.
baseball.
Oh yeah, we use that. Well, that's one of the best sellers we have is when we bring kids in now. We bring them in mostly on individual visits. We have them work out with the guys. They can hang out with the guys if they want to stay overnight. We try to hook them up with that stuff. But I think that's the biggest selling point for us is our players.
Very good. Well, continued success the rest of the year, and hopefully the season keeps going for you guys.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for joining us here on Warriors Walkoff. We'll see you next time here on TV 25.